Chapter 35. There was, Rye decided, a lot to be said for a smaller bed. What it might lack in area for more strenuous activities, it made up for in forced proximity. Not that he would ever have to be forced to stay close to this woman. He let out a long, relaxed sigh of satisfaction that was not simply physical, although they'd certainly managed that this afternoon. He hoped he'd also managed to prove to Kaitlyn that everything he'd said to her was true, down to the bone. Despite his own hunger, he'd turned it all over to her. Whatever she wanted. The only proviso was she had to ask for it. He knew it was difficult for her. The constant color that rose to her cheeks told him that, but anything she wanted, he did, even when it took every bit of restraint he had not to just drive himself into her and ease the screaming ache she caused in him. And when she'd finally broken and flat out demanded he take her, and now, it was worth it. And when she practically screamed his name as her body clenched around him, he felt more triumphant than he had about anything in his life. He edged himself a little closer to her, savoring the feel of that sweet backside against him as they spooned together. "I'm sorry it's so small." Rye blinked at the sleepy words, and here I was just thinking there were great advantages to a smaller bed. He thought he heard a faint chuckle. "I meant my apartment." He raised up on one elbow. "It's not that much smaller than my loft." "But that seems so much bigger, with all the other room." He hesitated, thinking it might be too soon. Decided to not phrase it as a question, but to just plant the idea. "Maybe even big enough for two. You'll have to decide if two artists could survive." She went very still. "I have to decide?" "I've already made my decision." He heard her let out a small breath. He didn't want her to feel pressured, so he said quickly, "By the way, I invited Nick out to visit the ranch." She rolled over then, to look at him. "You did?" "Yep. He's already doing so much better, and I checked with the staff and they said they thought he'd be fine." She